Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue with our project. So at least now we know we can actually add videos here. So let's fix a few things. For example, now we don't need to see this input here because this should be a hidden field. And what else do we change? And of course we need a progress bar. And the third thing is that if we replace a video like this one, it should delete the old one while replacing with a new one. So let's see how we can fix all that. Okay, so I'm going to start with the obvious here. And also after we upload a video, it should refresh the page so that we see our new, after saving, that is. So first of all, let me hide this input field over here. Or maybe before we do that, it's easier to see while we are debugging. Let's first look at the issue of replacing a video. So here, what I want to do is delete all the videos that are not part of the project. So here I'm gonna go to browse here, just refresh the page so that I see what videos are actually being used here. So there's one with 605 and there's one with 577. So I'm going to go in the folder here and just leave the ones I need. So 605 is this one, so we leave that, and 577. So the rest of these are irrelevant, so I'm gonna delete those. Okay, so I want to make sure I didn't delete the wrong ones. Let's refresh the page. Oh, okay, so let's log in. Back to our dashboard. Let's go there. So curriculum it is. Okay, so things are good. That's great. All right, so now if we replace a file, it should delete the old one. So this should only happen if there exists an old version of the file. So here's where we say save to lectures table. So that's the admin.php page. So if this one is not empty, then we do it here, which means this is the part where we save, wait a minute. Okay, so first of all, we disabled all the records from the course lectures table, right? So let's see. I'm trying to find where we the old records themselves. So old records should be in here, course lecture, where UUID. Okay, so there are old records here, which is great. And then we go through the for each loop here. Okay, so this is good actually. So with the old records here, when we are updating here, we are doing either an insert or an update right there. Okay, so right there where we are updating, which is my old lecture ID, is there. So there is an ID here, which is nice. So we should get that record from there. So old lecture IDs, where do we get these guys from? So let me find where we got these guys from. Old lecture IDs. So we got those from here, right? So we did an array column and we got only the ID column, which is awesome. Now with the ID column, we can also grab the files column, right? Now the thing, excuse me. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this here. So there's old lecture IDs, but then we can have old lecture files there. And then here we will have a different column that we are grabbing. Let's just confirm that column here, it's called file. Okay, that's great. So we're gonna change that to file. All right. So now we are grabbing file columns as well, which is good, involved in there. So now, because the number of old records is the same, in both cases, these two arrays will be exactly the same size. So the indices on both arrays can be interchangeable. So for example, if I have a list of files here, and I have a file on index number 0, for example, I know that the ID 0 and the file 0 belong to the same row. So that's one way I can use the ID to find out what file to delete in there. So let's go down here to the part where we update. So right after the update here, let's delete old files. So here we're going to say delete old video files, if any, right? So at this point, I do have an ID here, which I could get from this column to find the key from there. So there are a few ways to get, I think it's array search that we are supposed to use here. So I want to search for that ID in the array. Wait a minute. Because the issue here is I want to know exactly which file, because not all records here will pass through here, right? Just let's see here for a second. Maybe I can hold lecture IDs, and actually we should only delete, just the fact that we're updating doesn't mean we should delete a file. We should only delete a file if this array here contains some new data. All right, so if file is not empty, lecture blah blah blah. Okay, so if this is empty, array file, if empty array file, then why do I even have this? This doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay, new files. Okay, I see. So it puts the old file there. Okay. This is interesting here. So what we are doing here is that if this file is empty, we put in the old name. All right. So if we put in the old name, we should know whether or not to delete the old file. So I think right about here, I'm going to put 2 brackets there so that we can add another variable here. So here I'm just going to create a variable called delete old file, delete old video, or just old file. So here we'll start with false, so we don't accidentally delete something. And then we come down here, so false. Now if the so if this one is empty and then we add the old one, then really we shouldn't delete anything here. So let me put an else statement here and put that as true. Okay, so now if this is not empty and we don't put the old one, which means we have the new one, then delete becomes true. So here I'm going to say if, let's put our if statement, if delete old file, then we have to unlink the old file. So here I'm going to call it old file name, like that, and do that. Okay, very good. So now the thing is, here delete old file, let's figure out what old file name is. So the old file name in this case will come from here, right? From here, because this is indeed lecture data files array key, because this is the one that we add whenever this other one is empty, right? So if this is empty, we add this one, which means definitely this is the old file there. So I'm gonna copy this part here. In fact, I'm gonna grab this here, copy. Okay, I just need to copy the whole thing, so I'm gonna grab this, copy. Then I'll put this one here. This is what we will name the old file, and put it here, like so. All right. Okay, so now at least we have the old file name here. There we go. Now it's possible that we will not pass through old file name here on all these, so let's initialize it first. Just in case we don't pass through here, we should still have that variable. And then when we get here, we say if delete old file and file exists, because we don't want to delete files that do not exist. We'll have an error. Then we unlink that file. Okay, hopefully that's gonna work well. So the only way to find out is to find out. So let's try and replace. So in my folder here, I have two MP4 files, this one and that one. So what I want to do is, if I replace one of these, I shouldn't see the old file. So let's start with this one right at the top here. I'm going to replace this with another file. So I'm going to find just a random MP4 file here that I think would work. How big is this one? Yep, let me just grab that one. Oh, let's see. I'm looking for something smaller. Let's see. This is terrible. This is a WebM video. I'm looking for MP4. These files are way too large. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one. Okay, so the save button is right at the top and it has saved. So let's come back here. No refresh happened here. So let me just refresh the page myself. And as you can see clearly, there's a new video here. But let's look at the files in the folder. And as you can see, we still have two MP4 files. This is great. So it does replace as we intended it to do, which is very good for file management. Now, what I want to do is try just to save in here without adding new data, just to make sure it doesn't delete these files that already exist here because we haven't replaced them. So let me save that and let me refresh. And they still exist, which is awesomeness. So I'm gonna click browse again just to try and get back the other video, just to see if the process will hold once more. So do that and hit save. Okay, so successful. Let's refresh. It has to do this refresh by itself. Okay, so there is a replacement one more time, and we have replaced our files as well. All right, so things are working as intended. So which means now we do not need this part anymore to be visible. So let's make this a hidden field because it's working as intended. So let's go to our views. That's our views folder. And this is in the admin section. There's course edit tabs here, is it? Actually, this is, wait, is this where this is supposed to be? Let's try courses view down here. I think this is where most of this stuff is created, if I am not mistaken. So at some point it becomes very complex. So if to make things easier for you to debug in future, it would be a good idea to put some of this stuff inside separate files. For example, the JavaScript, to be specific, every time there's a script tag here, a new script tag, that could be a new file. So you can make those files and just include them here. Now the reason I'm still doing it this way, where they are all in one file, is because if you put them in separate files, your browser is going to cache those files. So sometimes this can lead to frustration because you change something in your JavaScript file, but you won't see it reflect in your actual browser. Then you get frustrated. So easily frustrating situation. So in that case, you must change your URL a little bit, but I don't want us to keep doing that. So we're going to put this stuff in separate files in the end. Okay, so what I'm looking for is excuse me, let's look for, in fact, it's just easier to find some text from here. So there's this text here that says video file, and I'm not even sure why I can't click and drag some of this stuff here. This is insane. I think it's because I think I didn't, this whole thing is inside the browse thing, so I'll start from there. Okay, anyway, let me just search for video file here. I'm gonna do a search video in the placeholder video file. There it is, right there. Okay, so this is the part I was trying to search for. That's great. So what I'm looking for is this input here of type file. No, not this one. This input here, the base file. So this one here, that's the value, but type should be hidden. So let's put hidden over there, and let's see how that works. So refresh, let's come back, and that's a hidden field now, which is awesome. Okay, so we've solved that problem. Now let's solve the problem of the progress bar. Why do we have no progress bar at all? Okay, so when I click the save button, something happens. So let's follow that along. It's always a good idea to start from the top and follow things along. So there's a save and back button here. So save button right there, and back button. So I'm looking for where I have a combination of that. So save, let me find save and back right there. So on the edit, which is correct, there's a save and back button. So save content. So that is the function we're supposed to look for. So let's find it. So function save content, great, because this is what happens when we click save. And it doesn't look like a whole lot is going on in this function. What's this? Input get attribute index. I think we removed this for some reason. Now we need a progress bar somehow. Course image uploading equals to false. Upload course image. Okay, so there's send data here. That's the one we're supposed to look for, and data type is save. Okay, so let's look for save data. Now the question is, I don't even know or remember if we have a progress bar here. So let me just make sure we do have a progress bar somewhere. It doesn't look like we do. Let me just try to, okay, there we go. Looks like we do have a progress thingy here. So progress bar image, this looks like something else entirely. Let me see, what function is this? Okay, upload course image. Right, okay. Yeah, we need a proper progress bar. So let's do this. I want to search progress bar video, progress bar image. Where is progress bar video? Okay, so these progress bars were meant to run I think I know where I made a mistake. This was supposed to be a situation where once you add a video and immediately the upload process begins. But this is not what's happening here. We upload when we click the save button, so things have to change a little bit. Okay, so let's see how we can change those things. Let me grab this progress bar. Okay, let me just keep looking for progress here. Okay, it doesn't look like this much. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead is let's go to a particular curriculum view here. I think that's where our progress... No, it doesn't look like we have progress bars here either. Okay, what about intended learners? Do we have a progress bar here? Let's see. I'm looking for any progress bar at the moment. Ah, there we go. Course landing page. So at least we have a progress bar over here. This one up to there. Okay. Alright, so let me grab that. I just want the CSS styles here in this case. So I'm going to go to the course view page. Let's go to the very top where we have save, add, edit. Where is that? Delete, and let's go for the edit. Edit is here. Alright. So I want to put a progress bar somewhere. So we have the tabs here. That's okay. Let me see. Maybe we can put the progress bar above the tabs, because then it shows regardless where you are at when you're sending data. Let's see. Curriculum, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's just put it over here. Let me see what that does. So progress bar, save. All right. Let me refresh. Okay, so at least we have a progress bar there. That's great. But the CSS, let me remove this margin. It's giving us too much space between those. Okay. Maybe at the top we needed some of that. So margin top, and let me put a 1 there. Let's see. It doesn't do much. Maybe what we need is a break tag from the title. No, actually, where are those buttons anyway? Okay, so it's between these buttons, the title, and this here. So let's put a break tag over there to separate the two. Okay, so at least we have this progress bar here. Now to hide this, we can just do D block or something. So if we put this style at, let's say, 50% width there, let me see. You will see that the progress bar is over there now. Okay, so that's a good progress bar right there. Let me save that. Now I'm just going to hide it by putting D block, which is short for display block in Bootstrap. And it doesn't seem to work at all. So maybe the version of Bootstrap here is different. So let's try if I have a hide class at all. Okay, I do have that, so that's great. Okay, so this is good. Now before we hide it, let me just put an E there to disturb it. Let's put some progress there so that we can see some actual progress happening here once we click the save button.